Hey guys, this is Milo back with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you how to reprofile an axe. This is the combination of sharpening the bit and also sharpening back towards the cheeks, and this is so that you can get a thin profile on an axe that's been worn down a lot or an axe that came from the factory too thick. Usually axes are like 35 degrees, but they should be less than 20 in my opinion. Also, I'm going to show you guys how to do this by hand, so I recommend having a 12-inch mill bastard file, a 12-inch bastard file for more of the rough work, a leather strop, which I'm showing right now, and then some kind of stone with a rougher, more coarse grit and then a finer grit. And a card scraper is important to remove the metal flakes from the teeth of the file. And then you need tape so you don't scratch up your eye while you're sharpening. And then you need a gauge to see what profile your axe is at, and also a vise and soft jaws. I made these soft jaws myself and they're honestly getting pretty old, so I should replace them eventually. But I'm putting my axe into the vise sideways, and that's so I can file towards the axe blade, and I'm not filing vertically because that's really uncomfortable to do. And then I'm going to put tape over the eye of the axe because I will be sharpening at a pretty low angle, and as my file gets close to the eye, it's possible that I'd scrape it. And it's not really bad when this happens, but it's not aesthetically pleasing at all. And if you're a beginner and you're focusing on just keeping a consistent angle, you might not realize that you're scratching the eye until it's too late. So it's always good to get in the habit of covering the eye just in case you do get too low of an angle. And real quick, I will go over some of the basics of filing. So you want to push the file towards the axe, and you don't want to do a pull stroke. That's really bad because you will be dulling the file if you pull it towards you. You just want to pick it up, push it, pick it up, and push it. And there is a different filing method than what I'm showing called draw filing, but I'm not using that just because it doesn't seem as efficient. If you are struggling with keeping a consistent angle using the push filing method, then draw filing might be something to look at. But I'm basically just pushing towards the center line, and I'm also kind of moving the file to the side with each stroke, so I'm getting the entire bit evenly, so I'm not leaving any high spots. Another thing to keep in mind is that using a wider file will give you less high spots because there's more surface area. And I actually sand after I file so everything looks really even, and that mostly just helps hide the imperfections from the file. And you do notice that I am using a skinny file, and that's because I didn't have any 12-inch bastard files, and the steel was too hard to use a mill bastard file on it. So it was kind of a downside, and this axe probably took me maybe 7 hours to sharpen in total. So of course sharpening by hand doesn't make sense for most people, but it's something I enjoy, and it's really good to learn how to do this. Another thing involving technique is you want to keep a steeper angle while sharpening so that you can file back towards the cheeks. If you drop your angle too soon, then you won't be able to get back into the cheeks, and you want to do that just so that the profile can stay thin, and that's mostly for bucking. Right now you can see that I'm jointing the axe, and that's so I can make the cutting edge uniform, and there were chips in it before, so I'm just kind of getting rid of that right now. It really does depend on the wood and personal preference, but it is good for the axe cutting edge to be slightly curved, and I think that just has to do with penetration into the wood and also releasing the wood so it doesn't get stuck too easily. And for the more technical aspect, you want the axe to be about 20 degrees or less if you're going across the grain. All of this profiling doesn't really matter as much for splitting wood because you want a thick profile for splitting wood, and there's a lot of information to cover, so I can't get it all in this one video. But if you really want to truly go in depth and learn how to grind an axe, then I recommend joining Axe Addicts or Axe Cordwood Challenge, and there's a lot of skilled people there that can answer your questions, and there's a lot to learn. So right there I was degreasing the axe because I'm going to gun blue it, and that kind of adds to the patina and it'll make it look more uniform. So you want to degrease it, and then you want to rinse it with cold water, and I wiped down the cold water, so now I can apply an even nice coat of gun blue, and I'll do about 2 coats of the gun blue on it so it looks fine enough. Usually you can do like 5 or more and it'll get even darker and it'll look even nicer, but I don't really need to do that because this is a user axe and the gun blue isn't really important in this scenario. This is not really a gun bluing tutorial, so I'm going to talk about the grinding the axe a bit more. You want to give this axe sort of like a banana grind, and that's where you take off more steel in the center of the axe and less on the toe and the heel. You also don't want there to be any speed bumps on the axe, and that's where there's an abrupt change in angle on the bit. You want to just roll the file over while you file and slightly change your angle as you get farther back into the cheeks. That's going to help prevent a speed bump from building up, and then also that's going to make it so the profile of your axe is convex, and that's very important for durability. You really want to avoid concave, which is the exact opposite of convex, where it gets kind of hollow. And the person that sharpened this axe previously used an angle grinder and made that mistake. So that's partially why I had to file so far back onto the axe. And right now I'm going to be sanding the bit. This is so that I can remove any high and low spots from filing with a thinner file, and it also makes each side of the axe look more symmetrical and more even. This is because the previous sharpener did a really bad job, so I had to file some sides farther back than others to make it symmetrical again, and it just ended up looking slightly sloppy on one side. So this makes it look better and kind of corrects all of those mistakes, just so it's aesthetically pleasing, really. A little off topic, but this information took me over a year to learn, and I don't expect you guys to fully grasp everything I've said in this video. You really need to learn everything in depth. So I recommend watching more YouTube videos, going on Facebook and joining axe groups to truly understand this, because with every axe you sharpen, it will get better. And soon you will find out that everybody has conflicting opinions and nothing's backed with science. So some people believe vastly different things, and it probably doesn't even matter. Like, some person might be splitting pine, and then their axe will need to be tuned differently than someone that's splitting a hardwood. So there's so many factors involved as you progress and learn more. But for the wood that I'm bucking, I like a 20-degree grind or less, and some people say never go under 25, so it's very controversial, really. But right now I'm using the coarse side of my stone, and I'm using small circles. I lubed it with WD-40, and you want to go on each side until the burr is gone, and that's kind of just a thin piece of steel that folds over until it breaks off to reveal the cutting edge. And now I'm stropping that, and that's just polishing compound on leather, and that really just polishes it and makes the axe as sharp as possible. And after that, I have a nice cutting edge on each side of the axe, and we're good to go. I'm just going to oil this with coconut oil so that it's protected from rust. And I really like coconut oil because it's food safe, and it also kind of hardens into a wax. And my dad owns a shampoo factory, so he gave me a gallon of coconut oil, so I might as well use it. This is a stiletto true temper swamper pattern axe. One bit is an 18-degree angle and the other one is about 19. Both bits have a micro bevel so it can be as durable as possible. You can see that really thin profile. I feel like this is going to chop very well on a 30-inch handle. This axe will be similar to a topping axe, which is where lumberjacks would climb up into trees to cut the tops off. And I will be bucking with this, so hopefully it gives me nice big chips and it doesn't stick. I hope you guys like this video, and peace out.